Reimagining Success, Episode 8. You're listening to Reimagining Success, the podcast where we help you reimagine your future, designing a life and career beyond the 9 to 5 that allows you the freedom, flexibility and fulfillment that you've been dreaming of. I'm your host, Anna Lundberg. Now, let's get started on those dreams. Hello there, my name is Anna Lundberg and I'm the founder of One Step Outside, where we help people around the world create a business and build a lifestyle that brings them more freedom, flexibility and fulfillment. And I'm excited this week because we've just closed the doors on this round of the new program, Fast Track Your Business in 90 Days. I did talk about this in the last couple of weeks, so if you're interested but didn't take the opportunity to join this time round, then do join the waiting list to be the first to hear when it opens up again. Maybe you'll feel more ready to invest in yourself and in the program next time round. So you can find out more about that and join the waiting list and my email community at onestepoutside.com/fast track. Now in the program, when we kick off next week, we're going to be looking with the participants at concrete business strategies, including getting super clear on your ideal client, refining your branding and positioning in the market, developing your content marketing strategy to attract, engage, convert, and nurture your clients, mastering the financials of the business, and, very important, actually implementing those strategies and taking consistent action every day, every week. Now, starting and growing your business is a whole new beast compared to working as a full-time employee. Believe me, it's been a steep learning curve for me too. There are so many new skills to learn at every level, actually. So however senior or experienced you get, there's always new things to take on board and opportunities to evolve. And these skills can absolutely be learned. There's no specific set of innate qualities. It's not, I'm a natural born entrepreneur. And certainly, I'm certainly not a natural born entrepreneur. I never thought of myself as being entrepreneurial in any sense. And when I left my job in 2013, I didn't think, yes, I'm going to be a successful entrepreneur now. I'd never really considered starting a business before. And I didn't have any real encouragement or help to do so when I was growing up. I mean, I guess it was a different time, sort of 20, 30 years ago, but it certainly wasn't something that was on the agenda for the career guidance counsellor. However, even though there are lots of things we can learn, and it's not that you're either born an entrepreneur or you're not, well, especially when you're transitioning from being a full-time employee again in a big corporate 9 to 5 and transitioning into working for yourself at home, taking on, the role of pretty much every role in your business and doing everything by yourself at the beginning. There are a lot of mindset shifts that you'll need to make in order to be able to succeed. So this is not as concrete as all the business strategies and branding and techniques and so on I can teach you. It's really a bigger reframing of how you think about things. So what I'd like to do today is to go through 9 mindset shifts that you're going to need to make in order to succeed in running your own business. So hopefully these are helpful and shed a bit of light on a different way of thinking about your work and how you approach your business, whether you're just starting out in your business or if you've been going for a few years. So the first one is learning versus getting it right the first time. Now, large companies in particular, and certainly in my experience, tend to be pretty risk averse. And as employees, we may feel like we're constantly being judged and measured on our results. We've basically been hired for our expertise. We have a certain set of skills, and we need to use those skills to deliver great results. And we have to get everything right the first time. And this really goes back to school. I definitely hated getting in trouble when I was younger. Comments from the teachers in my old school books include things like, don't make so many mistakes, this is too messy, you mustn't use Tipp-Ex, you mustn't cross out, get it right, and so on. But as an entrepreneur, you're by definition creating something that's more or less new, that hasn't been done before, and certainly you haven't done it before, and you don't have those people around you, the more senior managers, who can guide you based on their last 10, 20, 30 years of experience. So, no, you don't know everything yet. And although, again, a mentor or a coach can advise you, each business and each individual is going to be different. But you have the opportunity to find out. So the first mindset shift is to go from, I need to know this, I should know this, I need to get it right the first time, to, I'm open to learning. I may not know it now, but I am going to find out. So get used to focusing on testing things, making mistakes. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's a natural part of the journey. And learning from those mistakes, of course, really important, rather than trying to get things right the first time and then inevitably giving up when you're disappointed that it hasn't worked out. Because believe me, it's very unlikely that it is going to work out the first time. So first mindset shift, learning rather than trying to get it right the first time. The second one is being flexible, flexibility versus systems and processes. Now, again, in the corporate world, in large organizations, there are a lot of well-established systems, processes, but there are no systems and processes when you're starting out in your own business because it's all new and it's just you. So yes, you'll probably want to create systems and processes eventually when you're growing and when you're more experienced in what processes you need. But for the time being, you're laying the tracks as you go. So there's no exact roadmap that you can follow. You're not working on just one more launch after hundreds of launches in the company, and you really are creating everything from scratch. So if you come across an obstacle, and believe me, you will every day, every week, then you need to work out how you can overcome that obstacle. So what can you adjust? Who can you talk to? What could you try? So you need to learn to pivot, as they say now in the lean startup world, rather than give up altogether, or else you're never going to get anywhere. And of course, once you've been managing by yourself, you will, after a while, reach the point when you do need to partner with an expert or a coach to guide you on getting to the next level of your business. You will need to start outsourcing if you haven't already, and you'll definitely need those systems and processes. But there is still, when you're more advanced, always going to be that element of flexibility required. Because the world of business and online marketing involves constant change. It's constantly been moving forwards, changing, and so will your business. So that flexibility is incredibly important. So number 3 is thinking long-term rather than thinking short-term. Now, when I was at Procter & Gamble in my corporate previous experience, although we as brand managers in the marketing department were custodians really of the long-term brand at a big picture level, the reality was that we were on 2-year assignments and our focus was always on the next big initiative. We wouldn't actually be around after that, and so we would need to get some results as soon as possible. And because the brand usually had been around for a while and had a history heritage, we wouldn't be starting from scratch. So we'd just be looking at building that incremental sales, developing what was already there and thinking of what results can I get now in the next few months and years. But the not so sexy reality of building a business is that it does take time. It's going to take time for you to refine your message, to position yourself and your business so that that message resonates with your target audience. It takes time to get your name out there, to build credibility, to build an audience, and to convert that interested audience into an audience that actually will buy, into clients. It takes time to start bringing in consistent sales rather than that famous feast or famine cycle that's so familiar, especially to freelancers. And if you focus on the short term, if you're just looking at, the views you got today on a particular video or the comments on a Facebook post, then you're going to give up before the work you're doing has had time to make an impact. But if you're committed to making this business a success, if you're in it for the long haul, then you need to do it for long enough to actually make a difference. So focus on the big picture of what you're working towards, your long-term brand building strategy, your big vision for the business, and don't get obsessed with those individual metrics. And this is your business, your life, you're creating this and you want it to last. So think long-term, of course, balancing short-term needs. If you have, financial concerns or anything like that, your health, your family, that's important. But try to keep in mind the bigger vision of where you're trying to move to. Now, the 4th mindset shift is going from internal to external. Now, again, going back to my corporate experience, we did a lot of internal memos, one-pagers as we called them, recommendations, PowerPoint presentations, strategy alignment sessions, and so on. And those are all incredibly important in a big organization. And there is a lot of politics, so you need to align different managers, get that official approval, and so on. And of course, share information and discuss things and all of that. Now, it is easy to get caught up in strategy and planning when it's our own business too. So we end up talking about all the things we're going to do. We prepare materials on the back end. We might focus, for months on the website or business cards or strategies in our notepads and vision boards and so on. But the risk is that you're focusing your attention inward rather than outward to grow your business or even to start the business in the first place. And you actually need to go out into the world and talk to people. So you need to listen, you need to interact, you need to learn, you need to engage. And that's going to be much more powerful for your business than, again, working on your website, tweaking it for the umpteenth time after 5 months, revising your package names, your colouring, your pricing, whatever it is. Those things are important, But there's no point in doing those things if no one's ever going to see them because you're not focusing externally. So there's no point in having a beautiful website if no one's actually coming to that website. So get out there. A beautiful keynote presentation or strategy document is no good if you're not doing anything to bring it to life. So go from internally focused to externally focused. The next mindset shift is going towards giving rather than taking. Now, if you're familiar with, traditional marketing models, or certainly if you've seen ads of the past, perhaps they were all about pushing out your brand. And some brands still do this. They were pushing the product to as many people as possible. Buy me, buy me. It's the big TV ads and the not so well-developed brands and companies and stores that do these very simple, half off, buy one, get one free, whatever it is. Very sort of commodity focused price, buy, this is the product. Sales, unfortunately, has and perhaps still is to some extent associated in our minds with those sleazy used car salesmen, so trying to push their less than quality offering on us. And when we go to networking events, it's easy to get obsessed with what our elevator pitch should be and how other people can help us. But it doesn't really work like that. If it ever did, it certainly doesn't work like that anymore, because we have to give before we take. Marketing and business as a whole really is all about the customer. And the customer has become much more empowered now in the last decade or so. So you need to understand your audience and give incredible value, over-deliver, delight your customers, as we used to say at P&G, and give your best for free so that people can get to know, like, and trust you before they buy. When you meet people, you want to be thinking first and foremost about how you can serve that person rather than get caught up in what they can do for you. And that takes the pressure off too. So, if we feel worried about being sleazy or pushy, then take that pressure off. You don't have to do that. Just ask some questions, be there and see how you can perhaps aid them or guide them. And it's not, oh, by the way, you can buy my coaching program that will help you do that. No, it's perhaps offering a piece of advice, maybe then inviting them to your Facebook group or listen to a podcast episode that might serve them, but all with that generous attitude of giving rather than taking. And I'll talk about this more in a moment, but when you come from a perspective of giving rather than taking, abundance, generosity, wanting to add value and contribute rather than, worrying that other people are going to steal your ideas, your competitors are beating you and so on, then believe me, you will be rewarded. And on the plus side, you'll feel good about it too. The sixth mindset shift is humility versus ego. Now, again, on the corporate standard career path, we progress up along that ladder. We become more senior, more respected and admired in our field. And of course, we still want to be respected and admired in our field as a business owner. In fact, it becomes more important because we're really sort of putting our heart and soul into it. But to some extent, we will be starting from scratch again, and we'll always want to be learning and growing, whatever our level. So related to the previous point, on giving versus taking, you need to be focusing on serving others, on solving problems, and above all, continuing seeing how you can do better. So how can you learn more? How can you refine your craft? So in the case of me, for example, how can I make sure that I'm becoming a better coach? How can I make sure I'm staying on top of the latest business strategy, marketing, branding, strategies and techniques and so on? How can we deliver even more value? And this is going to involve trying things and sometimes failing. It's going to mean taking your ego out of the equation so that you can be honest about your weaknesses and any gaps and looking at where you can do more and get better. It also means, importantly, and listen to this one, that you shouldn't give up just because something wasn't the immediate blockbuster or bestseller that you thought it would be. You need to continue to refine, improve, learn, make it better. I think that's the number one reason why businesses fail is that people give up too soon because they feel embarrassed, they feel disappointed that it hasn't delivered what they thought it would. And this also means not thinking that you're the only one who can do things right and instead learning to delegate. It means asking for help when you need it rather than muddling through because you feel like you should be able to manage alone. So that mindset shift is humility versus ego. Now the next one, and I hinted at this one a moment ago, is abundance versus scarcity. And again, in my corporate career experience, we were literally competing with everyone else at our level. There were a finite number of top ratings available, and with that top rating came salary increases and promotions. So we had to prove that we and all our teams were better than all the others. And it was a zero-sum game. So the success of one basically meant that the other would miss out. Now, these days, social media unfortunately shows you everyone's best and shiniest self. And you end up comparing yourself to other people's goals and achievements. And it's easy to feel that, when you see someone else succeed, that makes you feel bitter, envious. You might feel that you deserve that as much as she does or more. You're better. Why aren't I succeeding? And so on. Well, prove it. She's got that result because she's put the work in, she's put herself out there. Maybe you're better. Good for you. Then go out there and do that too. Again, you need to swallow your ego. Stop getting distracted by what other people are doing. Don't worry, the fact that she has succeeded, whether deserved or not, doesn't affect the likelihood of you succeeding. In fact, someone else succeeding makes it more likely for you to succeed. So, it's not a zero-sum game. There is enough for everyone. Go out there and prove to yourself and to everyone else that you can do it. Learn from other people by all means, but don't let them distract you from your own goals and progress. Number 8 is becoming the CEO versus the super employee. Now, in my corporate progression, again at Procter & Gamble, we would start out assistant brand managers, ABMs. And what I always saw in the new ABMs, and certainly with hindsight in myself when I was starting out, was that we were all running in that hamster wheel. We were doing, executing all the time. And we were rewarded for that. We were rewarded for being busy and doing lots of stuff. However, in order to progress to the next level, to become brand manager, to get that promotion, we had to begin to learn to focus on the bigger picture, the strategy, and make the right priority calls. And that becomes more and more important the higher up you get. So this is the same thing that needs to happen in our business. And it's the message that my coach, Kelly Roach, is always emphasizing, one that I've been trying to internalize, that even when you're just starting out as a solopreneur, you cannot and should not do everything yourself. So, for example, when I first began to outsource some of my more repetitive tasks, like scheduling, blog posts, emails, and so on, I suddenly realized that I had a lot of free time. And that meant that although I thought that I'd been really busy working on important things, I'd actually been keeping myself busy on the very basics of sort of the admin logistics of the business. And I was missing out on actually driving the business, developing new services, engaging and growing my audience. Yes, you do need to get your hands dirty and do a bit of everything at the start, but you need to be working on your business rather than only in the business. And that means focusing on business development and taking time to review the strategy, monitor your results, and adjust as needed. Know your limits and outsource things like admin, accounting, anything that takes a lot of time that you could and should be spending on revenue-generating activities. And that leads nicely into the final mindset shift, which is investing now versus investing later. Now, again, big corporations tend to be quite risk-averse, and we require lots of data, return on investment studies to prove that things are going to be worthwhile before we can invest in a new strategy. And of course, big companies also have massive budgets that allow them to invest in new products and services. But as a business owner, we need to take on some element of risk and invest in order to move forwards. We have smaller budgets, and it's pretty tough because it's scary to invest both time and money in something that has uncertain returns. But in business and in online, the reality is that everything has uncertain returns. So waiting for your business to be successful and only then taking it seriously and committing and outsourcing and hiring people and getting a coach and so on is not going to work, because you need to commit and dedicate yourself to it in order to get those results. Now, that's very important to say that this is not telling you that you should overstretch yourself. You shouldn't put your own or your family's security at risk. I'm not pushing you to make investments that are not financially viable for you, but there is always a level of discomfort. So whether it's investing in a new technology or tool or an assistant or a coach or a course, you need to view these as an investment in growing the business rather than as an expense that's going to drain your resources. So those are the 9 mindset shifts, So learning versus getting it right the first time, flexibility versus systems and processes, long-term versus short-term, external versus internal, giving versus taking, humility versus ego, abundance versus scarcity, becoming the CEO rather than the super employee, and investing now versus investing later. So again, if you didn't join the Fast Track Your Business in 90 Days program this time round, or if you've been putting off maybe investing in some other course or program or in getting a coach, then I want to challenge you to shift your perspective, just focusing on that final mindset shift that I just shared, investing now versus investing later, and begin to get comfortable with being uncomfortable about investing in yourself and your business. What got you here is not going to get you there. And there is a point at which you need to go all in, invest in support, whether that be better technologies or systems, as I said, team members, or, getting a coach or mentor to guide you on the next steps. So I hope those mindset shifts were interesting to you. Went through them quite quickly, so by all means, go back and have another listen. Have a think about which of these you think is the biggest opportunity for you, perhaps. If there's any that you've struggled with or that you are also sort of still one foot in the corporate world that you have left or are about to leave, and think about how you can begin to take action, begin to get into that different framework way of thinking about your business. So thanks so much. I hope you found those 9 mindset shifts you need to make when working for yourself interesting And I'll see you here next week. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Reimagining Success with Anna Lundberg. If you're looking for support and encouragement as you begin to reimagine success in your life, then come on over and join us in the One Step Outside Facebook group. You'll find like-minded people who will cheer you on, as well as free training sessions and lots more. To join, visit onestepoutside.com/community or just search for One Step Outside on Facebook. I'll see you over there.